DJ, spin that shit.
Welcome to the Spare Parts Racing Podcast, your podcast for all things motorsports. With your hosts, Sean Chavarella, Stephen Clary, and Taylor Moore.
Hear that music?
Welcome to another episode of Spare Parts Racing. I am your host, Sean.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Taylor.
And today we have some fun stuff to talk about. We have the 24 hours of Le Mans to talk about and all of the shenanigans that happened for that this week. We have, I guess we can talk about some Sonoma, but I don't really know how much of us watched that considering the golf that was happening Sunday. Yes, we all chose golf over NASCAR, I will say that.
There's a good reason.
There was.
Oh, we absolutely did, and it was worth it.
For us, 100%. Anyway, and we also got Canadian Grand Prix coming up this week, Road America, and just, other stuff in the news that we can talk about. So, without further ado, Le Mans.
Can you really do the full ha-ha with the Garage 56 entry?
I mean...
Okay.
Is that where you want to start with the hee-haws?
No, not necessarily. No, it's just saying. You can't.
So,
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Let's start with Taylor's question she asked me before we started, and that was, how many hours of the race did you guys watch?
Oh, that's a good
watch
question,
and or
actually.
follow.
Okay, followed is a different story. Watched is like collectively maybe an hour because I watched like the first half hour of the start and then the last half hour of the finish.
That's fair. To be fair, the first hour was all under safety car.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
at that point, I had sort of mentally checked out and said, "Yeah, I'll come back when someone says, yeah, we're green again."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so.
But I was following, like I was checking the live tracking throughout the 24-hour period. I mean, like I did sleep like a normal human that night. So there was like probably 8 hours that I didn't pay attention at all. But otherwise, I was checking in quite frequently.
Yeah, I think I missed 8 hours total.
Yeah, probably roughly that.
Yeah.
Well, good for you both.
Yeah, I had my nephew's birthday. That was the first 2 hours I missed. Then after that, it was sleeping. But besides that, yeah, only 8 hours. And it was a very, very good event. It was a great race, really. And there's so much to take away from Le Mans, and we really are entering this new golden age of sports car racing. And I've said that for years with the LMDH and hypercar categories. I've said that for a while, and it's really fun that seeing the broadcasters and other people around the sport really talk about how this is amazing. You're having so much interest from manufacturers getting into the hypercar or LMDH spec cars. Alpine announced they're getting in with theirs. Lamborghinis.
Oh, really?
Yep, that
Love
was an
that.
announcement this weekend. Alpine's going to be bringing theirs, but they're going to be LMDH spec. Lamborghini's going to be bringing a car in a few years. If you could have, what is it? Is it Hyundai? No, not Hyundai. Who won again at Rolex? I'm blanking. Who was the team? Damn it.
Ooh.
Acura.
Yes, Acura.
If Acura shows up, then that would be another excellent manufacturer thrown there. So there's so many manufacturers that you can have at Le Mans in the next few years that you may have 10 different manufacturers all fighting for it, and all are prestigious brands. Maybe Ford might show up, because someone won this year, so you're gonna have to get that going again.
Show them up next year.
Obviously referencing Ferrari winning, which we'll get to that part of it. But even culturally, you had Ford versus Ferrari a couple years ago in movies. This year you're having Gran Turismo coming out, and that's also kind of centered around Le Mans a bit. So there's so much culture stuff. There's a whole lot of manufacturer interest. There's fun intrigue in terms of the motorsport world right now, with a lot of drivers kind of getting a following because of Drive to Survive. Like, again, with the Ferrari thing, Antonio Giovinazzi winning, that's fantastic. But yeah, like, I can see guys hopping from F1, going into sports car in the next couple of years, bringing more fans to that sport because obviously they're following them on Instagram or something. Like, it's just a great time for sports car racing. And I think starting next year, the LMP class or LMP2 class is done. Remember how I said that last week about, man, what are they going to do with all these LMPs? Because there's
too damn many.
There was like 30 LMP2s this year at Le Mans. Yeah, they announced literally the next day, yes, there's going to be no more LMP2 class. Next year we're going to go hypercar and GT. That is it. Because you just have so many cars competing. So anyway.
Yeah, well, how many entries were there this year? 56, right?
I think so. I actually don't know off the top of my head. That makes sense with the whole Garage 56 thing.
Yeah.
But
so
I do not know.
And how many of those were? Let's count here. LMP2.
So it's like 35.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
24.
LMP2s.
Jesus. Wait, is that counting guys at DNF, Steven?
Yes.
Okay.
That's literally, I'm counting by the class.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that is a lot, damn. But yeah, so I'm kind of ranting, but I'm kind of really excited for sports car racing and where it's going.
Yeah,
well,
agreed. I think it'll just get better and better.
It's very. I think motorsports has found the formula, which is get the Americans' attention, and you will find success.
Okay, so we want to go with that, the Garage 56 then?
No, I'm just saying in general, like F1 found the interest with Drive to Survive, and now they've had an explosion in interest, which I think has sort of spun off onto IndyCar as well, with the McLaren crossover, because then it's some way that American fans can interact with the McLaren team. I
think, like, culturally, there's just a less of a stigma surrounding motorsports. You know, like, for many years, it was oh, you watch cars go in circle. Now it's like, oh, there's actually some interest here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the, I think there's there's a major misconception about motor racing just being like, oh, well, it's just cars going around in circles, and what's really, like, interesting about that. But I think when you cross the threshold of, like, being actually able to see behind the scenes of what actually goes on and how much effort is put into races and the strategy behind it, there's a lot more intrigue there for people beyond, I mean, like, the racing itself is really interesting, but for people who don't know anything and are just, like, trying to break into the sport or trying to gain an interest, I think it's essential that they're providing sort of the behind the scenes to that.
Yep. Yeah, and like, you get so much now behind the scenes looks and, like, through social media and, like, people just being kind of around the events, and you just build more hype off that, and people are not afraid to be there. Like, who was the guy who waved the flag for this race?
To start?
Yeah.
LeBron James.
Yes, LeBron James. You had to really say it that weird into the mic, eh? Like,
yes.
I'm really going to have to work on that one. Thanks. Thank you. Making my job harder.
You're
welcome.
welcome.
To do that. Of course he did.
You can't say LeBron James normally. It's got to be LeBron James.
Was that a Vine?
Yes.
That was a Vine, right?
That's why.
Okay.
I know I'm totally aging.
I didn't get the reference.
I am hip and with it.
I
Moving
feel
on.
like there's a generation of people who would say otherwise with that reference, but sure, we'll go with it.
How you doing, fellow kids? Steven.
Yeah, I need an AC/DC shirt.
Oh,
And
God.
a skateboard.
Anyway, so because Steven keeps referencing, you know, old, outdated things, so we'll start with Garage 56. What?
Jimmy Johnson fans are about to fucking find your house.
Come at me. Well, that was such an old driver's lineup, too. You had Johnson, Jensen, Button, and Mike Rockefeller? Yeah. Yeah, guys who were a little past their prime, if you would really be honest. Driving a formula of racing that has passed its prime.
Yes.
But anyway, good. Garage 56. It was very fun.
Yes.
And I
Though
think
I
that
will
was
say-
half the part of it was fun.
Yeah, I will say the amount of times I've seen that nighttime clip where I think it's Jimmy Johnson in the car and he's just ripping past one of the GTs or one of they also ripped past a couple of the LMP2s at one point. Either way,
I mean,
of
like half
course.
of them crashed. No surprise there.
Yeah. Well, but the amount of times I saw one of those clips in the nighttime race with Freebird put over top and then people just putting USA bald eagle.
The what the fuck is a kilometer is one of the funnest memes with that car during the entire event.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were good.
It was a good, yeah. They finished 39th overall, which doesn't sound great. But when you take into context that they had to start from the back every time.
Every time. How many
Yeah.
fucking safety cars were they to start from the back?
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
killed track position for them.
Yeah. On a race that is track position. When
Yeah.
like they could have
Mhm.
easily been into the, how far do I want to say up? Into the 20s, like the low 20s easily, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Right?
And they really only had one issue. I think it was like the was it drive axle broke on it.
Yep.
And like that was it. And they were able to get that fixed under an hour and get it back out. And hey, that's endurance racing. That happens.
Yeah. And for a first crack at it, like to have just one issue, like maybe simplicity is the key
Yeah.
here with some of these.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
it seemed that surviving this race is all about not putting it in the fucking wall.
I mean, Ferrari proved you could put it in the wall and still win, so
Actually, that is true. I forgot they did that as well.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Which, I
every
mean-
single hypercar had an issue.
Yeah. Which that's not great, but it's good that you didn't feel like anyone got overly screwed. Is that the way to put it?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So
Yeah, anything else to add for Garage 56?
no, I good first result. I'd like to see them come back, maybe even have a couple entries similar to that. Someone even said, let's just do a all Garage 56 stock car class.
Just bring
Which-
a Chevy, a Ford, and a Toyota.
Yep.
I did see someone bring it. I can't remember where I saw this. It was on Twitter. But basically bring up a point that with the Garage 56 car doing so much better than all these GTs, does any one of these GT cars go, maybe we should look at putting ourselves into NASCAR because it's faster than our GT program? I don't know if that would happen because that's a lot of investment to that series, really.
Yeah.
But the NASCAR was fucking fast in the straight. Like you said, that video on the Mulsanne straight, it did, and it looked good. I think I got cut out in the wet a couple times, is what they were saying in the broadcast, because it didn't have the grip. It has maybe a little too much power.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, they didn't get put out because of a crash, right?
Yep.
So
I mean, we see, I guess, how easy the cars can be fixed in normal Cup. But also brings up a good point of, like, I feel like we can get rid of the crash clock, right? Like, in NASCAR,
Yeah.
because, yeah, you can bang these things up and get them fixed and back out there. Like, if you could do it in 24 hours.
okay, now I really want to see the
class?
NASCAR class, just so that way by the end of it, you just have a bunch of cars zipping around like one of the historic tracks with just duct tape all over. You can't tell which car it is because
Or-
they've taped up everything.
We just go back to treating NASCAR Cup Series as endurance racing, because that's essentially what it was.
Yeah.
Like 4 hours,
Back in the
500
day.
miles. Yeah, it was an oval endurance race. That was the point of it. Anyway.
Yep.
I digress.
Well, and now we have what we have now.
Yeah.
I guess one last note on Garage 56. Do we see NASCAR enter a team for Daytona next year?
Ooh, that'd be actually kind of fun. Again,
Ooh.
Like, if you're NASCAR, that's the perfect way to start your season, right? Like, just,
true.
Mhm.
yeah, we've got a NASCAR entry at Daytona, where we have one of our first races of the year.
The issue with NASCAR is, and with the Garage 56, is they can't fit themselves in a class. They are too fast in the GTs, and they are, worse than the prototype. So yeah, it's an awkward situation. And that might hold them back from ever doing anything with that, is that it doesn't fit in a class.
Yeah.
And to think of how much effort went into that car, I don't think they're going to be mass producing a bunch of those anytime soon.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that was a purpose-built GT car built into a NASCAR. Like, let's be honest, like that thing is nothing compared to the ones that go on like every Sunday. It's similar, but different.
Same but different.
Same, but different.
Different but same.
What is that a reference to?
Really?
I know
James Franco, the interview.
Is it the interview? Okay.
Talking to.
Oh.
I wasn't sure if that's what it was or not, but yeah, okay.
Same but different. Different but still same. That's
Anyway,
I swear your brains are like 90% movie quotes.
Yes, that's
Exactly.
how I exist.
If I ask Sean to quote like Tropic Thunder right now, he can probably do the full Tom Cruise call the UN.
Listen here, Flaming Dragon, fuckface.
Of course.
He can probably do that whole thing.
I know a
with
Pan-Pacific
Rise
power
of
play you're trying to pull here, Jack, but Asia is my territory. So whatever you're... Okay, anyway. Moving on.
We don't have to copyright for this.
No, we don't. We really don't. So, Taylor, you at least can
Yes.
be happy because Ferrari won.
Yay! Okay,
They
let
almost
me tell you.
almost embarrassed themselves.
Everyone almost
Shush.
embarrassed themselves.
That's true.
Let me have my maybe potentially only success this season as a Ferrari fan. I was very happy, very excited for them. They looked really good on the weekend, so yay, they finally did it.
Yeah, honestly. I'm
10 out of 10.
I'm surprised because they weren't really the favorite going in. The Toyotas were.
Yep.
Because, you know,
Mhm.
obviously, and this is the first race with the Ferrari hypercar, and yeah, it was a good car. It was fast. They had a couple moments where early in the race, the teammates were a little not being teammates and kind of fighting each other while trying to fight the Toyotas. And then the Porsches were there as well. Like the early parts of the race, before people started having issues, that hypercar fight was amazing because everyone was just up and down trying to get around a guy. You'd make a move on one guy, then you'd screw up, and he'd get back around you, and some other guy would come through as well. And then it was leapfrog essentially for the first hour, maybe, after obviously they cleaned up the first Cadillac going in the wall in the first lap. Besides that,
Yeah. So, I was very happy. Still very happy. I'm going to live off this Ferrari high for the rest of the season. Okay, thank you. Not that I have no hope in F1 Ferrari, but
No,
I have no hope in F1 Ferrari.
I think that's fair. But yeah, so you had...
Take what you can get.
Yeah, and the Ferrari team was, James Calato? Actually, no. Antonio Giovinazzi and Alejandro Pierguidi.
Pronounce his name right. It's Racing Jesus.
No, it's
I
not,
don't
because he
care
cut
if
his
I
fucking
don't care
hair.
I don't care if he cut his hair. It's still Racing Jesus.
Honestly, when they showed Giovinazzi, like,
It
really?
can't be anymore.
He cut his hair. That pisses me off. He's now a Ferrari pretty boy.
Oh, right. That's right. I saw a picture of him. I was like, what happened? His hair is gone.
Yeah. And
Big sad.
for Ferrari, that they deserve that. They did. They had a hell of a race. They had the little bit of issues on pits where the car just kind of stalled. And like it happened on the last pit with 20 minutes to go. And you
What are
can
you
see
laughing at?
they were shitting themselves at the time.
They went from
I
a
know.
2 minute over a 2 minute gap to under a minute, and I was like, oh no.
I know,
If this
I
car
was
doesn't
so
start in the
nervous.
next 30 seconds, they're fucked.
They're not good.
All of Italy is gonna just like
Die
poop with some
simultaneously.
It would have
spaghetti.
been so Ferrari for that to happen, though.
Yeah.
Right?
It would have been, but thank goodness it didn't.
No, really true.
I'm so tired of typical Ferrari stuff happening to Ferrari.
Like, you have to say, like, for Ferrari to start the Le Mans program. Totally justified. You've won Le Mans. Every resource you've moved towards that program, fantastic.
Yep.
Now, maybe, and this is also kind of a thing going at like the golden age of sports car racing now, will we see the Ferrari F1 boys over there maybe next year on a team?
I mean,
I would love to see that.
I mean, Charles was there.
He
was actively interested, so...
And it shows that he's not the curse, because they won.
I know, thank goodness. Maybe it broke the curse.
Put him in the car, and then we'll see what happens.
No.
No.
Garage area counts. Because he's not in Perez's car, and that thing blows up half the time.
Wait.
Sorry, not Perez. What am I saying? Sainz.
I was very confused. I was like, yeah, he's never been in a Red Bull, Sean.
Listen, long day.
Anywho.
It's fair. Ta-da. Yeah. Though, speaking of Giovinazzi, saw this hilarious thing on Twitter also. The drivers of the 2017 Sauber F1 car.
Mm-mm.
Did you see this?
You sent it to me, so yes,
I did?
see
Okay.
it.
One has won the Indianapolis 500. One has won Le Mans. And one is leading the Formula E championship.
I love that.
Yeah, it's Marcus Ericsson, Pascal Wehrlein, Antonio Giovinazzi.
Wehrlein or Wehrlein.
Wehrlein? Yes. So.
Yes.
Besides that, do you want to talk about some of the other drama and note from the hypercar class?
Well, we have to talk about the other Toyota because you sort of said or mentioned the Toyotas were the favorites coming in, and the 8 car still came second, so that's not really
there was a lot of
surprise.
controversy with that one too, though, because they put in what's his name, Hirakawa, and he's the younger of the drivers, and like, oh, they're putting in the young Hirakawa. He's 29, by the way, so them calling him the young, that made me feel great. Okay. So, okay.
I mean, he's been racing with them all season, so it's not like
I know. And he made a mistake and hit the wall.
Yeah.
And basically, but he was pushing hard, and he was trying to catch that Ferrari. He was catching the Ferrari, and it happens. You're pushing at a race, and you're on, I think, used tires, and you ran out of grip.
Yeah.
The track this week was very funky, and I think that's why we saw an increase in like incidents.
Yeah.
Right? It was a very big mix between wet and dry for a lot of it, and you had a lot of guys just sort of losing it. I think I can't remember which hypercar it was at this point that just spun under safety car.
I don't remember. I remember the 3
I don't remember
fucking did like a 720 going through the water at one point.
Yeah.
It was like,
So- It was just tricky conditions, I think, because at some points it was like, we're dry, we're good to go, and no, there's a little bit of moisture that's gonna fuck your car. So, but yeah, the 7 being out, and they were out in what, hour 6 or 7? I can't remember which hour they
I
dropped.
think it was like
out
8, but like they got
dropped out
totaled.
early.
What happened was there was a slow zone. Now in like WEC racing, when you get to a slowdown or a slow zone, it's basically pit speed limit the whole way through because something is happening. It's a good way of managing traffic. It's like a virtual safety car for a specific area. And again, neutralizes the race and specific area so that work can be done, car can be recovered, yada yada. It's safe, but you have to slow down to get into it. So what happened was there was a slow zone, and a bunch of cars checked up because you're not supposed to pass in those areas either.
Regardless of class.
Yeah. So there was a big checkup and everything, and was it the 7 Toyota? Just got ran over by, was it one of the LMPs, or was it LMP2 or was it a GT car?
It was okay. It
was like a 5-car pileup.
There was at least one from each one. I know it was one of the LMP2s got into the back of the Toyota, I think, because they were the ones that cut around the right. It was one of the GT Ferraris. that was in there, and I can't remember which other car was on the left side. I think it was another GT.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a shit show.
Probably the biggest incident of the entire race was that.
Yes. Oh, easily. Because
into a slow zone, which is the hilarious part.
Yeah, well, because you just had the one GT that had a car go over it was just in the middle of the track, and this is in the middle of the night, so it's pitch black. You just see like some lights on and flickering, and then as the rest of the field starts coming through, and you just see them light up the scene, you just see the amount of debris that was behind it. Yeah, this is probably easily the biggest incident.
Yeah, favorite part of the incident is the onboard of one of the cars. As it's going full speed into the back of another one, it says like just slow ahead.
Yeah.
Like, buddy, it was right there. It was right there. But anyway.
I'm driving to lead, not to read.
Exactly. Ferrari, Toyota, Cadillac was your top three. Cadillac had a pretty decent finish. The three had its incidents and, could have been up there. That was the Bourdais, Dixon, Van der Zandt, lineup, and I had money in those guys. I thought they were going to do a lot better. Pace-wise, they were really good, but they just had like 3 incidents basically. And I think it was them that also loops under safety car, because they had a couple issues where they just spun.
When it was wet, it was not great, because it was like an out or a good chunk of that first little bit that was under safety car was partially due to rain, right?
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Other cars to also shout out. Porsches did, I think, worse than expected. They had a bunch of issues, it seemed. Glickenhaus surprisingly came 6th and 7th.
Just surviving.
Just be slow and don't touch anything. That's all you had to do.
Yep.
Peugeots were leading and then wrecked from the lead.
Yeah.
Is this like was it How I Met Your Mother, the Buzz, or the Blitz? Not the Buzz, the Blitz. You just pass the bad luck on to someone else.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
And how Peugeot is just going to be the Ferrari, or have the Ferrari reputation.
Yeah, I felt bad for them because they have the radically different car with like no rear wing, supposed to be really fast down the Mulsanne straight, and it was working for it, and then oh look, here's a wall.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that they wouldn't have that Ferrari did is some sort of expectation to do well. So
yeah, there was zero expectation of their car to even be at the front.
Yeah. So I think one of the commentators, I can't remember who it was when they were cycling through, was like, Peugeot's going to take so many pictures right now and just plaster this. We were leading Le Mans on merit, and
and then what? And then what happened?
Don't ask about the rest of it.
Driver error, not the car's issue.
Yep.
But yeah. So Le Mans was a great event. I will need to go there in the next 5 years.
Yes.
Also, technically, this was the centenary of Le Mans.
It was.
Yes, it was.
Not the 100th running, but the 100th anniversary.
100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we missed a couple due
100 years.
to some event that happened between 1939, 1940s, somewhere in there.
Didn't it get banned also in after the Le Mans disaster at 55?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm just
I know.
guessing.
I just know
Some years that didn't get.
I just know that there was a hiatus due to something going on in Europe.
Just a big world event.
Yeah. So.
Something happened. Let's just not talk about it.
Yep.
But yeah.
The Germans just wanted to make sure Mercedes won.
Ooh. Here comes the Panzer across the finish line.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's too far? Fine. Okay, so I guess we covered that. Did we even want to talk about Sonoma, really? Truex won.
No.
A lot of people didn't like the race, to be honest.
Where was it
Okay.
here? 43.4% is what Jeff Gluck's
43 liked
good,
it.
Good. Yep. 56.
That's actually.
Did not.
But what do you like? This was the whole thing. We're going back to traditional road course races. If a guy is fast, he's going to be out in front. If you don't get cautions, because you only had like 3 or 4 cautions in the race. Because what?
Yep.
There was a loose wheel. Hamlin
Zane Smith.
looped it. Things. Zane Smith. Like there
Yep.
wasn't a whole lot happening. So you can't really catch the guy in front. And Truex was just good, and there was a good battle. There was a good strategy that came into play, and on like depending on where the yellows flew, kind of dictated the race. But I don't understand what people want in a NASCAR race.
I feel like they want like everything. You know what I mean? Like for them to actually deem it a good race, they want like
Yeah.
I don't know.
And,
Honestly,
like-
I don't even know what makes a good NASCAR race anymore.
But like, here's the thing, and this is an argument I will have with you always, Steven. Not every race needs to be a banger.
No. I agree with that.
Not every race can be a banger.
Yeah.
Like it's just impossible to have every single race be that on the calendar. They have a really long season.
And like find me an album of music where every single song is a banger. Like you can't.
I'm surprised you didn't start naming off Taylor Swift albums.
Not everyone's a banger. Every Taylor Swift fan will admit that.
honestly.
Not every song's a banger.
Not,
There's some good ones.
nope.
Not every single one.
I think
I mean, also, like, not every album is fantastic.
Exactly.
I think the
There's
There's
biggest
only
thing,
one album you could name in the world that every single song is a banger.
Which one?
Tarzan soundtrack. Phil Collins.
Okay.
You probably have some pushbacks from some people.
No, I'm pretty sure most people can agree
No.
every single song that's a banger.
To be
I
fair,
will agree with that.
it's a movie about
It is the best
animated gorillas. Phil, you don't need to go too hard, and Phil just lit the piano on fire and fucking went to town.
Exactly.
So-
He went too hard, and that's the only album in existence. Everything's a banger, and it's same thing for the racing. Not every race throughout a season needs to be a banger.
Yeah.
I think this sort of boils down to a little bit of dilution due to the fact of how many street circuits we have now versus say 5 years ago, right?
Yes.
Like that's probably playing into it. And also the next gen car, it's not, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. The drivers have gotten better and the car has made it a little more predictable. Does that make sense? Like it's not as, you don't have guys like, because before when you had like what, two tracks on the calendar.
Yeah, and you'd have like
That
your
were
road
road-
course ringers come in basically for those.
Yeah.
Almost win every time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the old guys weren't used to it. Now you have a bunch of new guys. Like I think so Danny Hamlin put it on pole and they said that Tyler Reddick helped them set the car up because he's sort of a road car guy. But the younger guys are geared a little more towards having road racing under their experience belt.
And it's a lot easier to test on that and hop in iRacing or any other sim and rock a NASCAR around a place like Sonoma. Like,
Yeah.
it's not as difficult
So-
as it used to be.
Exactly. So now you have guys with more experience and also the older guys, while they're still maybe not prioritizing it, they definitely have more experience now than they did 5 years ago because they have to. And the car is also geared a little more towards being a road car.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't have as many instances, like you said, like there's less cautions to help stir things up. So if you get a clean race, it's going to be a little bit, there's a chance it could be a little bit of a snoozer. I won't say it's a guaranteed snoozer, but like you didn't have you had some guys who could do it and some guys who just couldn't, and there wasn't any cautions to help mix it up a little.
Yep.
Right? Like, because I think certain guys, like if we go down the list here,
Also,
like where
Sonoma is
where's the
also a
Hendrick
track that is very forgiving, right? Like,
Mhm.
if you look at incidents in Sonoma, oh, you just go through the dirt and you're back on the track. Versus a place like Watkins Glen, where usually if you have an incident, you're hitting a wall. Like, there's not much runoff in that track, right? So,
Yeah.
could also be track dependent a bit. But yeah, it's not the end of the world that the race wasn't a banger. It wasn't door-to-door action the entire time. But it was a good traditional road race. And there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't.
Yep. So it is what it is. But in the end, you know what it does lead to is a new points leader in Martin Truex, which if you had said that at the beginning of the year, I think a lot of people would have said, no, there's 0% chance unless he wins the first race of the year. So
Yeah, that's surprising.
The old guys have decided to say, yeah, we're still here, and this is still our series because there's still Truex, Harvick's 5th still, Kyle Busch is 6th. Like a bunch of guys that probably a majority of people would have written off at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So the only other performance I think we can shout out is the guys who finished. Where were they? The guys who finished 4th and the guys who finished. Oh, actually, there's a couple. 4, 6,
You want to name
and
them?
7. That was Buscher, AJ Allmendinger, and Michael McDowell.
But again, they are your kind of road course ringers
Yeah.
now.
But it's fun to see those guys up at the front. And well, here's the thing: Buscher is more of a road course guy, but he's also just had a good year. Do you know where he sits in points right now?
17th.
He's 11th.
Jesus, really?
He could get in on points.
Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
He could. He's the top point getter right now with the. Oh no, Chastain doesn't have a win and Harvick doesn't have a win, but he's 3rd.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's possible. So
Okay.
I mean, and he could win if he's a road course guy. He could win a road course or one of those more unpredictable ones where where drivers don't have as much control if he can be there. So
Fair enough.
there's your fun stat for Sonoma.
Speaking of fun stats, F1 23 released their driver stats this week.
Right. Okay.
And because
It's
I
like
don't
a whole thing.
I don't think we have a lot really to talk about Sonoma because again, we watched the golf. We watched Nick Taylor, Canadian Open. It was great. I won $400 in betting, so go me. Steven, shut up.
It was the first time since like what
69 years.
60,
Yep.
yeah,
Nice.
69
Thank
years
you.
since the Canadian
Nice.
won.
Yeah. So it was
So,
worth
it was
for us to watch. And he drained like a 70-foot putt. So like, you know what? I have no shame
A
admitting I watched.
72-foot putt.
Yeah, I have no shame
On
admitting
the
I
70
watched
feet.
that.
playoff hole. Yeah.
So sorry,
It was
NASCAR.
crazy.
We tried, but
No, not sorry.
at the end,
I did not try.
you had to choose at the end, and I'm like, I'm going with that one. Sorry.
Yeah,
So wait,
sorry, not sorry.
F1 23 stats. Can you guess the number one driver in F1 23?
Well, obviously it's Verstappen.
And his rating is a 94.
Okay.
Now things get interesting. Because you have two drivers tied at 92.
Right.
Are we supposed to be guessing this because I have this on my
Alonso
screen?
and
Okay.
Hamilton, right?
It's Hamilton, Alonso at 92. Leclerc, Norris, and Perez are all 89. Sainz
Okay, which-
88.
I have a gripe with this.
Okay,
like,
here, hang on.
I don't
Sean,
understand.
I'll go through
Go
it,
through the
and
list.
then I
Go through the list.
want to
All
know
right,
what
go
you
through it,
don't
go
like.
through it.
Okay, so again, Verstappen 94, Alonso, Hamilton 92. Leclerc, Norris, Perez are all 89. Sainz and Russell 88. Bottas 87. Ocon 86. Gasly 85. Stroll 84. Albon 83. Tsunoda 83. Magnussen 81. Hülkenberg 80. Zhou 78. Piastri 74. Sargent 71. And De Vries 71. I want to know what do you not like? What do you like? Who's bang on where you would rate them?
Well, okay. I don't like Norris being up there because I don't really think that he is better than the other guys listed underneath him, to be quite honest. To me, that makes no sense.
If you were to pick one of these guys and one of these ratings that is your bang on benchmark to start listing off everyone else, who would it be? Because for me, it's Bottas.
Yeah.
I think an 87 for
Yeah.
Bottas
Honestly, yeah.
is respectable.
Yeah, consider
Yeah, I
like
think that's...
guys are
right.
going to get knocked for certain things just due to the car that they drive,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
or boosted due to the car that they drive.
Yeah.
So
I would put Norris at 87. I would say he would be similar with Bottas.
yeah, I don't think Norris is egregious. Like should be up there. The one thing with the F1 driver ratings is always they have experience as one of the traits, and I don't know how heavily it's weighted
Yes.
for each one. So
Clearly weighted.
Uh,
But
No,
to
but-
put
no, but that
Norris
would- that
above
would- that
Perez
would-
doesn't make any sense to me. That's the thing that gets me. Or I
Yeah.
guess they're both 89. But
they're
like
both 89, yeah.
even above Sainz, above Sainz.
But so Norris's
Doesn't make
driving
sense.
ability, I don't disagree necessarily because that would mean Norris's drive. Like, what was Norris's? I've got the video. I'm trying to find what his experience was. 76. Perez was a 91 for experience.
I would drive Norris down to a Bottas or to a Russell,
Yeah.
88.
Yeah,
88, 87.
I would agree. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not like he showed last year when the McLaren was still like a decent car that he can help them fight, and he just didn't really have a team. Like with how much he outperformed Ricardo at the end, or when all was said and done last year, like that wasn't. He's got skill. It's not like he's like should be down in the 70s.
Honestly, I would.
No, and
I
I'm
would
not saying
swap.
that.
I would swap Russell for Norris. I put Russell 89 again. Put him same level. Leclerc, Perez, Russell. Maybe even bump Sainz to an 89 too. Put them all in the same kind of category there. You have obviously your
Yeah,
3
yeah.
champions at the top. Makes sense. They've won
Mhm.
championships. They've been there. Again, if you're putting experience up there, that's fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sonoda at 83 and Albon 83 are, I think, where it gets interesting. Because, like, again, I don't disagree with Ocon, Gasly, 86, 85. Honestly, you could probably flip that around. Maybe make them both 86. Stroll,
Yeah.
84. He hasn't really shown to be... Maybe 85, maybe. A little more respect on his name.
Maybe.
That one's
But again,
that one's
it's
with how
I don't
good-
hate
with how-
it.
because with how good the Aston Martin is and how much he can't be that much closer. Like, yeah, sure, maybe 1 point up
Yeah.
or 1 point down. It wouldn't be a surprise, but like, yeah, he's not like he's. Honestly, Stroll was going to be one of the ones where I was like, yeah, that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Albon Sonoda. I think Albon at 83. Maybe drop it lower. Maybe 80.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 81.
Okay.
You know, he didn't.
Yeah, I
he
see that.
only had a couple good races in Red Bull. You know, still was always beat
Mhm.
cleanly by Max. Sonoda 83.
Well-
there is finally, I think, getting some respect to Yuki.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish we had last year's stats here.
I know. I'm sorry.
Or what they're. Or I wonder. F1 22.
Magnussen and Hulkenberg 81 and 80 are kind of disrespectful. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, given like what they've accomplished previously,
That is
and also
24-hour
like,
Le
even
Mans
this
winner Nico
season-
Hulkenberg, right?
So here, let's have a look at where
Yeah,
people
but
were
not
last
F1
year.
podium getter.
Oh.
Okay, so here you want
Sorry.
last
No,
year's
no, that's
stats?
fair. Yes. Who went
So-
up from last year and who went down?
So Hamilton's down 2 points.
Makes sense.
Verstappen is the same.
94, really? Huh.
Hang on, I gotta move one screen over here. You had Leclerc was at a 92 last year. He's dropped 3 points to an 89.
I mean, that's kind of fair.
George Russell is down 2 points, so that's a little head scratching.
But I think that if Hamilton's down 2 and Russell's down 2,
Yeah,
shows the
that's-
car performance, I think, did that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lando's down 1 point.
He was a 90 last year?
He was a 90 last
Wow.
year.
That's aggressive.
I think that
Shocking. That's shocking.
might be somewhat due to he's that much better than Ricardo, or he was that much better than Ricardo.
That's fair.
Alonso is up 3 points from an 89.
Makes sense.
That's fair.
Perez is up 1 point, up 1 point. Bottas is down 1 point. Sainz is up 1 point.
I don't disagree with those, really.
Gasly is up 1 point. Ocon is up 3 points.
That's fair. Did he win? Or, no,
Ocon?
he's gotten a win. Yeah.
Albon
Gasly,
Albon's up 1 point.
Okay. What's Yuki up?
K-Meg's the same. Stroll's up 4 points.
That's disrespectful. Him at an 80 last year.
Yeah,
That's bad.
that car was bad. Sonoda is the biggest riser so far, up 5 points.
I think that's fair. I would maybe do a bit more. One I'm disappointed
Nah.
about. What was Zhou at? What was Zhou? Because I think
Zhou was
a
at-
78 is disrespectful to Zhou.
He was at a 70. He's the biggest riser.
I would go to at least an 80.
I think he's fine at 78.
Eh.
When you look at how in video games they do the growth, 8 points is a lot
Yeah, that's fair.
for a single year over year. That's a lot. So I think that's fine. Like that's a big get.
Nick DeVries is disrespectful.
71 and Sargent. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
I thought but like, what has he done this year? Right?
Not gonna. No, I would say that that's disrespectful. I think that's part of the. I think
F1?
it's tough because he just hasn't. Yeah, and he hasn't really come and done anything spectacular in
He
F1.
won, but he
and I
won
know it's his
Formula
first-
E.
Yeah.
He is a
so
Formula
he
E
should be up in
champion.
experience.
But no, here's the point. He's a Formula E champion, so
Sure.
he's a professional driver who has done it and been there. So experience-wise, he should be higher as a driver. He should be higher than fucking Piastri.
He should also be higher than Sargent.
Piastri scored points this year.
DeVries scored
Yeah,
points
that's
last
true.
year
Okay,
in a Williams.
but like,
Yeah.
Piastri's in McLaren.
Oh.
What's your point? You know what I mean? Like,
okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Fair enough. That is, yeah. When you put
Um,
it into
that's
perspective, it
just-
is a little
That's
disrespectful.
one of those things
But
when they're doing like their last second tweaks before they release this. That's something where it's like, oh, they're gonna weight it more to this year.
Piastri should be a 73.
Mhm.
DeVries should be a 74.
Yeah.
That's disrespectful
Yeah,
to
that's
him. I'm
fair.
sorry.
Yeah.
Like the same as Sargent. God damn it.
Yeah.
Who has,
I'm
like,
gonna have to watch the the video. I want to see his. So it's the rookies all together. So I want to see what his reaction is when he comes in as the tied for lowest.
I would just fucking walk out of there. That's bullshit.
Oh. Yeah.
Where is he? Oh, here they are. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this video after.
Okay. So yeah, and now we got Canadian Grand Prix and Road America this week. Road America, do you guys want to predict a
Yay.
winner?
That.
I'll go first
Okay.
because
Pardon me one
Because
second.
I'm thinking.
okay.
But
I'm gonna go Grosjean. I'm going Grosjean.
I don't hate that pick, but
Wow. You don't hate that pick because Sean picked it, but
I'm-
if I picked Grosjean, it would just be another. Of course.
I am
that's
picking it
just
so
already
you-
guessed."
I am picking it so you have to go outside your comfort zone and not pick Grosjean. Steven, you know the other pick. You know the other pick.
yeah. Well, yeah. If I take Ericsson, he finished. So we just both picked guys who finished in the top 5 last year.
You guys suck, honestly.
Getting out of your comfort
Okay,
zone.
Steven. So your pick is Grosjean. Your pick is what, Steven?
Ericsson. Just that's
I
a
hate you both.
pick someone
Fine,
other
I'll
than
go
your
outside of my
European.
comfort zone.
Hey, Steven, high five. To the other side. Other side. Yeah. Okay.
On my screen, we're the other way.
It's
so-
okay. This is the one that matters.
Um. Okay, New Garden.
Okay, that's fine. That's
There
fair.
you go. That wasn't so hard.
Yeah.
Canadian
You
Grand
know what?
Prix.
I like my people. Okay.
That's fair.
Yes.
You know. Canadian Grand
Canadian
Prix.
GP.
Taylor, you are going.
I'm going! Yay! So,
Tell us what your
Take
plans
videos
are.
from-
I'll be TikToking my experience. I'll be TikToking, so pay attention to our TikTok,
Loser.
keen listeners.
Trying to be
Okay,
famous.
get out.
Okay, fine.
No. Yeah, so I'm super excited. We are general admissioning the Friday and Saturday, and then we've got grandstand tickets for Sunday. So,
Where?
this year,
Are you the same seats as last year?
same seats as last year.
Which is where?
Grandstand.
It's the exit of the.
7?
It's the exit
Give
of
me
the
1
hairpin
second.
going down the straight. It's like the last grandstand. I remember.
Give me 1 second. I can tell
It's
you
okay.
exactly where we are.
For someone not know who does,
Say.
but not everyone's gonna have the track map. So just
Oh, it's Grandstand 47. So it's a little like it's further
left.
up the like from the pit wall. If that makes sense. From like the start. It's
Oh,
just
it's
like
up?
on
It
that side.
it is out of the
Like, there's the
hairpin
hairpin?
down the casino straight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
That's fair.
There.
On the
We have no
on
screen.
the inside. On the
Yeah.
inside.
Yes. My learnings from last year is that I'm gonna buy one of the butt cushions because the grandstands are insanely uncomfortable for the amount of time that you sit and watch. So
That is a
we're
given.
butt cushioning this year.
I do that every year for
Yeah.
the Indy. It's a smart way to do
Yeah, we did not last year because we were like, do we really want to spend the money on a butt cushion? And this year we're like, no, it's happening. You spend the money.
it. Yeah. What's the weather for
So it's a
Montreal?
hot tip for. It's gonna rain on Saturday again.
Oh.
Ooh.
But it's supposed to be sunny on Sunday. That's the second year in a row that it's going to be raining on qualifying. So
Stroll
I'm
on
super
pole.
excited.
Stroll on pole.
That would be.
I am hoping for a different Aston Martin to potentially win this race. I'm hoping that Alonso will take it home. Well, not really home, but I'm hoping Alonso would win this race because if Stroll did, that'd be fantastic.
Oh, that'd be the
Um,
most amazing week for Canadian sports. If Nick Taylor wins
It
the Canadian
would.
Open and Stroll follows up winning the Canadian Grand Prix, the country
be
would lose its mind.
fantastic. Yeah. Unfortunately, his grandstand to sit in is insanely expensive, so
Welcome to F1.
we had to take the cheap seats. Yeah.
There's
But
nothing wrong with
I'm
cheap
super
seats.
Excited.
No.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I'm gonna say like cheap seats. They're still like $175 each,
Jesus Christ.
and that's
Te-
about the cheapest that you get for grandstands.
Technically, for the Honda Indy, me and Steven have the cheapest seats.
Yeah.
In
But they're great.
turn 3 grandstand.
what?
And the lower part.
Right.
But still are technically the best seats.
hmm
So don't worry about the price on them.
It is what it is.
Well,
It is.
the
No,
good news is
no.
a lot of it is sold out, which is great to see.
A lot
John,
of it is.
The only tickets we can get are $3,000 for the Senna Club.
Ugh.
The
20,000 for the paddock.
$5,000 for the elite restaurant, and then $20,000 for the paddock.
I'll sell a kidney.
Start counting your pennies for next year.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Well, if y'all would just pay attention to when I say tickets are on sale, you could be coming.
Next
Yeah.
year, yes, fine.
Maybe.
All right, next year we'll make a plan. But
Yes.
anyway, super excited. I can't wait. It's going to be great. It's a great atmosphere to be in. It's a fantastic city. I love Montreal, so I am very, very excited.
Can I get one prediction from each of you for the Canadian Grand Prix next week?
Stroll crashes
Ooh.
on Sunday.
Wow.
He does have bad luck there.
Way to put that. You know what? Way to put that juju out into the internet. I'm going to say that Alonso is going to have a fantastic drive, and he's going to win the race from P10. Oddly specific, but
Interesting.
my prediction.
My prediction is the Wall of Champion claims another champion.
That's
Ooh,
that's
okay.
actually what it should have been.
Ooh.
What do you
Which
mean?
one?
Ooh, which one?
Because I was thinking about this today. I was gonna say Max ends up in the Wall of Champions because he's had it really good so far
That's
this
what
year.
I was thinking too.
Yes.
But I also didn't want to jinx it. So that
But I
way
also
he's
feel
just,
like-
cruising along.
Hamilton's never been in that wall either.
Maybe.
And I don't think Alonso has. So like one of the champions ends
you're
up in
putting
the
one.
wall. Yeah. I'll leave it at
And
that.
it's actually Nick DeVries, technically a champion.
Oh fuck.
No.
Nico Hulkenberg,
No.
Le Mans champion.
Oh.
Yep.
So is Alonso. He's a Le Mans champion as well.
Oh shit, he is. Yeah. Not gonna get the new
There's a
500.
lot of
but
champions that could go.
That's fair. But yeah, so we shall see what happens. Anything else to add?
Do you want to do a fantasy update because we pushed it off the last 2 weeks?
Oh,
Yes,
fine. You get to
let's do
gloat.
fantasy update.
Oh no,
Steven
I'm
gloat.
slipping. I'm hitting the end record button.
That's fine. I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
start
Alright,
with the one
Steven,
that
get on with
I'm getting absolutely demolished in, which is NASCAR. It's a 2-horse race here. I'm nowhere close.
Let's go, Taylor. Fuck you, Steve.
Sean, you're up by
We're
23.
still winning?
Sean is up
Oh!
by 3 points.
Oh, Byron, come on, you gotta get me more points.
Nah, it's actually Suarez that's letting you down mostly.
Dang. Okay, that's fine.
Sean has a very balanced group. You have Suarez sort of boat anchoring. With
Yeah,
like
but she has
320.
Byron, who's also propping her up.
Yeah, that's also true.
So you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, you guys are
Yeah.
both. So Sean, you have 1857.
long
Taylor, you
season.
have 1834, and I have 1524.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's what happens when half your team is hurt
Dude.
or suspended.
Well, between Elliot being suspended / injured, Austin Dillon just having a brutal like first 10 races, and then also getting slapped with a 60-point penalty. Yeah, it hasn't been great.
Oof.
Well,
Not-
I say it sucks to suck, so.
Yeah.
And we're going to end at that note, right, Steven?
Okay,
Anywho,
end of show. Thanks for
it's a
listening.
2-horse race in IndyCar between me and Sean.
Oh, really? I'm still there. Wow. I'm
Yep.
surprised.
Taylor's going to be mildly upset that we didn't do this update 2 weeks ago.
Because you're
Or
winning
Why?
after
Was
Indy.
I winning?
Well, two weeks ago, me and Sean were tied, and Taylor was 1 point back.
Wow.
That's how close. That's why I wanted to do it a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
That's how close
Oh my
it was.
gosh. What
I
happened?
think that was after the 500, and then Taylor's team just slowly crashed and burned. So Taylor's now 79 points behind me and 67 points behind Sean.
Wow.
It's got.
What are the teams again for that one?
Sean, you have Pelot at 273, McLaughlin at 175, Hurd at 149, Lundgaard 136. Taylor has Erickson at 222, Award 191, Grosjean 145, and Boat Anchor VK at 108. I've got Newgarden 203, Dixon 194, Rossi 176, and Power 172. So, Sean, you've got a good points lead with a single driver. I've got balance, and Taylor has a boat anchor.
Okay, and one thing I will say for Taylor, Grosjean's had terrible luck.
He has.
Yeah, he has a terrible.
There's a
He's-
lot of points.
He's
left on
wrecked from like top 5 positions, I think, 3 times.
Yeah.
So
that. But having VK
Ah,
just barely scraping
c'est
by
la vie.
100 points doesn't help.
Such is life.
Grosjean
No,
winning this
Taylor's-
week will help her. It's okay.
Taylor's total points is also
Yes.
666. I'd just like to point that out.
Is what?
666.
Hey. Okay, Steven, you
And then
can dunk in us in F1.
F1? No, I won't mention it. We're not even halfway through F1.
Just say what it is, you coward.
I just closed it.
Okay, fine. Fine, okay. And on that note, thank you very much for listening to this episode. We will
Get
be
good.
back next week. Steven, you're a dick at fantasy. And that is all. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Spare Parts Racing podcast. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and follow the show on Twitter at Spare Parts Racing. That's Spare Parts RACIN, and on TikTok at Spare Parts Pod. Follow the hosts at Sean Chavarella, at Stephen Clary, and at Tay Moore.